everyone, this is Samya and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today in this video, we are going to be talking about all the mistakes which I have made while learning English. And if I could start over, then how I would learn English. Actually, there were many things which I wish I would have done in a different way, but unfortunately, I cannot rewind time and go back to my past and tell myself that you should do these things in this way. But that's all right. If I cannot make it happen, then I cannot do anything with it now. But I will make sure that none of you are repeating those mistakes, which will make your journey a bit challenging and a bit longer. So without further delay, let's get started. So the first thing I would do differently is that I would focus on more specific vocabulary, because this is the biggest mistake I have made in the initial days of learning English, which has made my journey a lot challenging and a lot complex. So I would focus on those words which is relevant to me and which is related to my life and which can help me to articulate what I want to say and how I want to say them, rather than focusing on unnecessary words which I am never ever going to use. There were many vocabulary which I have memorized in the initial days of learning English, which I am sure that I am never ever going to use. And there were many topics I have covered in the beginning which we hardly talk about. So for example, if I wanted to know something about biology, I went to Google and searched that topic in English. But the fact is, I did not understand anything because 90% of the words were something which I had never heard. And what exactly I did, I wrote all of them down in a diary or in my notebook and translated them in my mother tongue and tried to memorize them. But I know that these are the words I am never ever going to use. So it was of no use. There's another example I can give you. So there was a topic I wanted to know about. Let's say it's deforestation. But I forgot that this is a kind of topic we hardly talk about. I am not going to express my thoughts on it because I don't understand this topic. But I wanted to talk about it, and I went to Google and searched that topic and studied about it and researched about it. And 80 to 90% of the words were something which I had not heard because I had studied everything in my mother tongue. So I memorized all of them. And these are the topics which I'm sure I'm never ever going to talk about in my daily life. So if I'm talking to someone, definitely I'm not going to ask them that, okay, what do you know about deforestation? And what have you studied back in your school? So these are the words I would never ever focus on. Rather than I would focus on those words which can help me to express myself. For example, how I have spent my day and what are the things I want to do, what are my dreams, how I want to pursue them, who are my inspirations. So these kind of topics I would focus more on. So if I was a beginner, definitely I would not repeat this mistake, which is searching 50 or 100 words in English and translate all of them in my mother tongue and then try to memorize them. Rather than I would focus more on learning vocabulary and learning new words naturally just by consuming a lot of content in English. Furthermore, I would try to know how to say what I want to say in English. So for example, if I am having some idea or if I do have some sort of suggestion which I want to give to someone, then I would focus on those words which can help me to express my thoughts and articulate my words in a better way. Apart from that, I would literally not make it a first just by writing down a word with its meaning in my mother tongue. rather than I would focus more on writing down synonyms with its examples, because if you are writing examples, then it will help you a lot to understand the context, because there were many words which I have written down but I don't know how to use them in context, and that's why I don't use them. So it is of no use if you don't understand how to use this word in context. So it's very important for all of us to write down the meaning in your mother tongue, but don't forget to write down the example, because it will help you to get clarity how to use this word in your context. So the next thing I would do differently is that I would start speaking right from the start. But in the beginning, I used to think that if I would start speaking right now, then probably I would make a lot of mistakes. But the fact is, even though if I have started speaking 3 to 4 months later, I was still making a lot of mistakes. Definitely, I was not speaking flawless. But if I would have started speaking right from the beginning, then probably I would have corrected my many mistakes and I would have become a better speaker. But like many of you, I used to think the same, that I don't know how to say what I want to say. But there's nothing to think about, because we all have our smartphones. We can grab it and search what we want to say. For example, if I want to say I am tired, but I don't know how to say it in English, then definitely I would go to Google and search this thing, how to say this in English. No matter what your mother tongue is, but you can search that in English and you can easily get the answer, and that's how you can improve yourself. Another thing I would focus more on is speaking in front of mirror, because when you are speaking in front of mirror, you are looking right straight in your eyes, then it will help you a lot to boost your confidence. But I did not do it in the beginning. I started a bit later, but I wish I would have done it in a different way. Another thing I would advise myself to start speaking in front of camera, because if I am looking straight in my eyes and talking to myself in English, even though if I'm speaking broken English, that's perfectly all right, but this is a great way to boost your confidence, because when you're talking to someone, definitely you will have to make proper eye contact, and this is really a great way to improve your English just by talking in front of camera. Another thing I wish I would have emphasized more on shadowing technique. Although I have been following this technique for a very long time, but I wish I would have started it a bit earlier, because in the beginning many of us don't know what type of sentence we have to construct, and we lack essential vocabulary. We don't know how to say these words, and most of the time we don't understand how to construct sentences. Then it is a perfect way to improve your English, because you have to imitate other person. You just have to copy whatever they are saying, and this is really a great way. If you have been following this technique just for 10 minutes each day, trust me, your English will improve a lot, and you will not realize that how far you have become a better English speaker. In the beginning, it will definitely be very difficult, but you have to keep going, because if you have started speaking right in the beginning, then you will become fluent in English very soon, and you will be able to improve your English very quickly. So yeah, I wish I would have focused more on this step. So the next thing I wish I would have paid enough attention to was learning phrases, slangs, and idioms, because these are extremely important and essential part of English. So I wish I would have paid enough attention to them and would have tried to learn them, so it would have made my journey a lot easier. But unfortunately, I did not focus on them because I thought it is not important. So whenever somebody was emphasizing these topics, that try to learn phrases, try to learn idioms, I always neglected, because I thought it is not going to help me at all. But now I have realized that it is extremely important, because it will help you to understand others better. So whenever I watch YouTube videos and someone uses slangs or idioms or phrases, I always get confused because I don't understand them at all. So I need to go to Google and search the meaning of those words, and then I become aware of it. So I wish I would have paid enough attention to them in the initial days of learning English, which could have made my journey a lot easier. So the next thing I wish I could have incorporated into my routine is music, because music is something which can help you a lot to improve your language skill. No matter which language you want to learn, be it English or any other language, it can teach you many things. The way native express their thoughts, because when you're understanding the lyrics and music, it will help you a lot to get clarity how they say it in English. But my problem with music is completely different, because I'm a kind of person who does not listen to music even in my mother tongue. I don't know why, but I feel this is something which is not made for me. I don't know whether I'm right or not, but yeah, this is something I have realized, that music does not make me feel good, or it does not make me relaxed. But I have talked to many people who are like, you know what, I cannot complete my day without music, and I cannot even imagine my life without music. But thank God I don't have this issue. But sometimes I wish that I could have incorporated it into my routine and could have improved my English a little bit. But that's all right. I don't regret about it that much. But yeah, I wish I could have done it to improve my English, so that I would have become a better speaker sooner. So the next thing I would tell myself, that don't write down every single new word while reading books or anything. Do not stop every single second to write down every single new words. I know it is useful and it will help you a lot when you know every single word to understand the context. But this is something now I have found out, that if you are looking at your dictionary every now and then you would lose the flow of reading, and then you will eventually lose the momentum of reading, and then you would feel like, why am I even reading that book? So it will make you tiring and it will make you feel frustrated when you stop writing every single new words. Because if you do look at your dictionary every now and then you don't even want to keep reading anymore, because it will drain you completely and it will make you feel that you have done your job and now you don't need to read anymore, just reading a page. I know there are many people who want to know every single word in order to understand the context. Otherwise, they don't feel satisfied with it. And I did the same thing. But now I realize that this is not the right way, because when I look at dictionary every now and then, when I write down every single word, even though if I have read just 1 or 2 pages, I am done with it, because I feel like I am tired and I don't want to do anything. So I would tell myself to read naturally and look at dictionary when you don't understand the context and when you have a lot of difficulties to understand what is being said here. So the next thing I wish I would have paid little attention to was my accent. Although I am not worried about it, neither do I feel bad because of my accent. Even a lot of people have complimented me that, yeah, you have such a pure Indian accent and your accent is actually really strong, which makes me feel Indian. Like literally, I feel that, yeah, I have this Indian accent and I'm really proud of it. But the thing is that many times when I engage in a conversation with foreigners and whenever I talk to them, they find it difficult to understand me because I have this strong Indian accent. So now if I try to change it, I feel very, very difficult. So it's not my cup of tea now, I think. So I wish I would have changed it, not to change it completely, but to make it a little bit neutral so that anybody could have understood me. So the next thing I would tell myself to start reading early on and focus on reading physical book. Because when I first started learning English, in the initial days, I was focusing more on listening than reading, because when I first started learning English, I was not able to understand English at all. So my first priority was to be able to understand and to familiarize with sounds. So that's why I was focusing more on listening and watching than reading. Although I don't regret listening, but I wish I would have started reading early on so that I could have made my journey a bit easier. So the next thing, I wish I would have picked a physical book or a hard copy of a book. Since I did not have books in the beginning, so I was reading everything online. I used to go to Google or Chrome browser and used to search any topic and started reading. So in the initial days of learning English, I was spending hours in front of a screen, which has affected my eyes so much. So I wish I would have chosen any physical book or hard copy of a book. It does not matter which book you are reading, as long as you are enjoying and learning something from that. Although I'm not going to say that books are really cheap, you can easily get it. I know there are a lot of people who cannot get it and it's not possible for them to afford it, so it's perfectly all right. But if it is possible for you, then try to get at least one or two books so that you can protect your eyes from screen, because it will affect you so much. This is the kind of mistakes I have made, and I think I wish I wouldn't have made it, and I could tell myself not to repeat that mistake. So yeah, if it is possible for you to get physical book or a hard copy of a book, then try to get it as quickly as possible. So the next thing, I would tell myself to start watching movie, TV show or any sort of drama in English. But unfortunately, I did not follow this step. I don't know whether I should be calling it unfortunately or not, because I actually don't regret for not watching movie. But yeah, there's one thing I can easily tell you, that if I would have watched them, probably I would have improved my English so much drastically. So yeah, there are many advantages you can get just by watching movie or TV show, because here you can learn how to express yourself more naturally and in a fluent way, because they speak really fast and you can adapt them easily just by engaging with them, just by watching movies, just by trying to listen how they speak. So yeah, it could have taught me a lot, but I did not follow that step. And my issue with watching movie is completely different. I don't even think that it's valid or something else, I don't know. But just 2 years ago, I think 2.5 years ago, I did some sort of modification with my mindset, that from now I am going to start consuming those content which is valuable for me and which will give me some sort of knowledge. So from that time I stopped watching movie and shifted my focus from watching movie and watching TV shows and drama to watching valuable content, which is there are many YouTube channels which you can follow and improve your English and improve your lifestyle. So that's how I have started watching YouTube videos and stopped watching movie completely. As I mentioned that I don't regret not watching movie, but if you're someone who does like watching movie, so instead of watching movie in your mother tongue, try to watch them in English, because it can help you a lot to improve your English drastically and to some extent. So the last but not the least tips I wish I would tell myself, that make studying more fun. I wish I could make my journey more fun and more enjoyable, because in the beginning I literally took it so seriously, where I was emphasizing almost every single thing, as if I have to crack an interview, or I would say as if I have to win this game or this war. I don't know what I was thinking at that time, but yeah, that's how I was studying. I was literally behaving like a crazy brat. I don't know how I should explain this, but yeah, I was focusing on almost every single thing. I was emphasizing vocabulary, reading skill, writing, speaking, listening, almost every single thing. Even sometimes my throat used to get hurt so badly because I was speaking for hours without taking a break. Sometimes my eyes used to get puffed after waking up in the morning because I studied late at night. So yeah, that kind of stuff I have done, which was not good at all. I would never ever recommend anybody to do these things. And all the things has affected my health so much because I took it so seriously that I was pushing myself beyond my limitation. So I started losing my weight drastically. I started having severe headache and started struggling with horrible migraine, and there were many issues I started having. So I know how it feels when you push yourself beyond your limitation, and when you try to do something which is not your cup of tea and which is out of your capacity. So it's very, very important for all of us to remember that it is just a language which we have to learn. Do not overdo it, because if you are doing something excessively, it will definitely affect your health. So here are a few things which I wish I could have done differently, and I wish you could learn something from this video, because if you could learn something from it, then I will be glad to know. Then let me know in the comments below what are the steps you have been following to improve your English. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful and interesting. So please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I will see you very soon. Bye.